What is up, TBS crew? It's your boy Steph back with another reaction. This time we have Don't Turn Around scary stories, even though it just says don't turn around now. 3 scary mannequin stories that'll make you stay up all night. Now, the only other YouTuber that I know, or horror narrator, that has did a mannequin themed video is Lazy Masquerade, and actually is literally right here. The very first, recommendation video is Lazy Masquerade's video that he uploaded 9 months ago. 3 terrifying mannequin people encounters. And I did a reaction to that, so in the description I will leave a, what am I trying to say? Oh yeah, I will leave a reaction, I will leave the link to that reaction that I did for that video. So, Don't Turn Around is the only other horror narrator that I know besides Lazy Masquerade that has done a mannequin themed video, and Lazy Masquerade was fucking terrifying. He would randomly throw like mannequin faces up on the screen, or they'll like fade in and then they'll like fade out. Like it was unnerving as fuck. So I'm hoping that's how this video is gonna be, because mannequin stories are very hard to find in the horror community unless I'm just overlooking them. But enough talking. Y'all already know all the important links will be down in the description. So without further ado, let's get into it. It's already not starting good. It's already not starting good.
Hi. Welcome to Don't Turn Around. I'm Warren. Mannequins scare a lot of people. I remember when I was a young boy, I used to always feel that they were watching me and my mom as we walked through the store. Now, the word mannequin comes from the French and the Dutch, where its early English translation was
Is that Don't Turn
artificial
Around?
man.
Really?
Maybe that's what always scared me about them. Now, this first story I have for you happened to me before I joined the FBI. And the others, well, they just might scare you stiff.
You're about to hear 3 scary stories, read by Don't Turn Around. After each one, leave a comment below which one is the scariest.
I think comment was
Mannequin
misspelled.
itself isn't
Oh.
very scary. It's a piece of plastic. Of course, it looks like a person, and there are different types. But in this case, it wasn't so much about the mannequin head being scary, but what was being done with it. Or should I say, them. I was called to a house in the suburbs of Los Angeles. Now let me paint the situation for you. It was owned by a single mom and her 2 young kids. It was large, and it stood alone on the corner of a cul-de-sac in a suburban affluent area. The house owner's name was Lucy. One night, Lucy was home watching TV alone, as she did pretty much every night when her kids went to bed. Well, that night, she felt eyes of someone watching her from outside, and went to the back glass door. She looked out and was shocked to see a mannequin head staring in at her. She called a friend, who came over and searched the backyard, and there were more mannequins, all posed to stare into the house. Some were headless. Their heads were on nearby ledges looking through the window, about 5 in all. So they gathered them up and dumped them in the corner at the far end of the backyard. The next night, she woke up around 1 in the morning hearing the snap of a branch. She looked out the window, and there was another mannequin head staring in. Her friend came over again. There were more mannequins, all posed to stare into the house. The friend took them all down and piled them up in the corner. Lucy said it looked like a heap of bodies. Not wanting to make the kids afraid, she led them out to the car. As she opened the door, she nearly had a heart attack as a mannequin head was in there staring back. The police came over, and she told them everything. They said they'd do drive-bys, but they couldn't monitor the house 24/7.
Right.
So they advised her to get security cameras.
Right.
So she did. It was one of those types that you could check on your phone. In the morning when she woke, as she stepped into the hallway, through the glass window, she could see a mannequin face staring back. When she checked her phone for playback, the angle wasn't so good. All she got were 2 black boots walking up to the window. this scared her even more. This is when she called me. I was working as a private detective at the time. It was about a year before I joined the FBI. Now, obviously, this was someone wanting to scare her, and they were doing a great job. There weren't really many immediate suspects. Maybe her friend, maybe someone at work. I leaned more towards a creepy neighbor. But there was a lot of speculation, so we decided to stake out her house from the other side of the street and try to catch them red-handed. Well, that night, I had way too much coffee and diet soda. So what I did was I cut off a hose that led to a bucket. And it's pretty safe to say that my car stunk like piss. 2 in the morning, I saw a figure approach around the side of the house. It didn't come from the street. So I instantly thought I was right about it being one of the neighbors. It carried a mannequin, placed it down by the window. As it stepped under the streetlight, I couldn't see his face as he wore a hood. Now I'm assuming it was a he, as he carried a mannequin with ease. Now, sure, he could have been a female bodybuilder, but let's just assume it was a guy. I slowly crept out of my car and I took out my gun. While I had no intention of using it, I had no idea what to expect. I watched as the hoodie placed another mannequin down by the window, then stared in himself. "Freeze, asshole!" I think was the exact words I used. He froze right there, and I approached. "Get on the ground!" He didn't. Instead, he kept staring in. Why was he so obsessed with Lucy? I have no idea. "Get on the ground, or I'll shoot you!" He didn't move an inch. I was getting angry, mainly because I didn't like creeps scaring women. So I lunged forward and I kicked him, and he fell. And then I froze as a hooded mannequin hit the ground. I stood there in complete disbelief. It was a complete WTF moment. I had seen him with my own eyes carry the mannequins into position, and he hadn't left my sight. This is something I've never, ever been able to explain. Now, all I can say is that there are creepy things out there that are going on that I don't think I'll ever fully understand. As for Lucy, after that night, she was never bothered again. So at least this one has a happy ending. I actually love my job. I get to pull over idiots who speed and kill people. Sometimes when I pull you over, you yell at me, but most of the times you're super timid and scared. You shouldn't be. I'm really just an everyday guy doing a job. Yeah, I'm a police officer, and there's probably a little more excitement in what I do than what most people do.
It be like that.
Still, it's a job. Do I ever get creeped out? Yeah, I have been a few times, and I've seen some really strange things.
I
Like
bet.
just last week, I pulled over a guy who was in the carpool lane. He had a mannequin in the passenger seat with him, and 2 mannequins in the back seat. Now, he was trying to obviously fool me into thinking that his car was full of people.
Wow.
Now I've been doing this job long enough to realize stiffness when I see it. Now, no, if
Carpool
you're trying
lane,
to fool
okay.
a highway patrolman,
Now I get it.
don't use stiff mannequins. All right? Should I really be telling you that? Should I? So anyways, I pulled this guy over, and he's Caucasian, male, 30s, middle-aged. Appears fidgety, but I run his license and it comes back clean. As I'm writing him up a ticket, I sense something is wrong. And then I see blood on his collar. So I ask him to explain it. And he says he had a nosebleed. Well, that's weird. But my spidey senses are still tingling. There's something off about this guy. Now, I'm not sure what it is. At this stage, I have to let him go. But I don't. He looks at me nervously, asking me if he can leave. So I ask him, pop the trunk. He asked me why. I said, sir, pop the trunk. He looks at me like he's hiding something. I'd rather not, he said. So I asked him why not. Very calmly replies, I don't want any of the body parts falling out.
Pop the damn
He
trunk.
looked at me with super cool, dead eyes. And I just lose it. I pull my gun and I tell him to step out of the car now. And he doesn't flinch. And he steps out of the car. You're making a mistake, he tells me in a very monotone way. His eyes stare at me from behind his glasses, as they just give off a complete Ted Bundy vibe. Open your trunk, I demand. He appears frustrated. He opens up his trunk. As it pops open, mannequin hands fall out and hit the road. Inside are literally hundreds of hands. He looks at me upset. Can I please pick them up? I'm a mannequin salesman. I hesitate. Oh, God. God, do I feel so stupid. And I help him pick up the hands and throw them back into his trunk. And all this time, I'm thinking he's going to call my badge number in and get me written up and possibly fired, as I really had no reason for searching his trunk. He says he knows my police captain, and that he'll forget all about it. Now, as I pick up one last hand off the floor, fingers fell from it. He pushed me away and tossed it angrily into the trunk. That's when I saw them. Faces staring back at me. Under the pile of body parts, dirty and rotten mannequin heads. Their eyes were unblinking. I even remember saying to him that they creeped me out. He uttered something sarcastic to me like, well, if they weren't real looking, then no one would want them. There was one that caught my eye that looked more human than the rest. It had blonde hair and bruising. Now the eyes had tape holding them open, stretching the eyelids back. It reminded me of going camping when I was a kid, and how a stake would be bound out to the ground, pulling the canvas back of the tent. I just looked down and I felt that there were invisible hands pinning back the eyes. Now I only saw her for a moment before the face got lost under the other parts. That was about the time that I just figured maybe I was going crazy. My eyes were playing tricks on me. And then, just then, he slammed the trunk shut. As he walked back to his car, there was something that just didn't sit right. My mind kept going back to that mannequin inside the trunk. It just seemed so real. My gut kept telling me, what if it was?
Right.
What if it was real? Check it. Check it, check it, check it, check it. You're better than that. Go check it. Wait a moment, I said. He was now already back in the driver's seat, so I told him, pop the trunk one more time. And he shook his head in frustration. And then he reached down for the release switch for the trunk. And as he came back, bang, 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 bang! He fired shots through the window. The glass shattered as he accelerated away. Now I was on the floor, facing the stars. I got hit in the shoulder at close range, and it hurt like hell. I rolled over and pulled out my piece, and as I fired back, I missed a few times, but I did hit the car, and I unloaded everything I had, until his car veered off the road and crashed into a tree.
You hit him.
And with a busted shoulder, I approached carefully. As I rolled up, he was hit in the upper back, still alive and screaming in pain.
Good.
If I didn't have my body cam on, I would have knocked the out of him. I pulled him out. I cuffed his ass and I called it in. Then I hobbled over to the trunk. I opened it up, tossing out all the mannequin pieces. And at the very bottom, I felt flesh. Human flesh.
See.
It was a woman. I recognized her as the shop assistant from the uniform that she had on. Over the radio, they said that she had been kidnapped from a town about 50 miles away. Well, it was earlier that morning, and her eyes were taped back and wide open. Now I had dug feverishly all around her, removing all the parts and digging her out of there. But she was dead. Why he had taped her eyes open like that? Had he done it maybe to make her watch him do something? I don't know. There was something heinous and evil about it. Now, usually when people die, you close their eyes. out the opposite. What was the point of all the mannequins? That I don't know. I was pissed. And when I say I was pissed, I mean, I was pissed that this girl had her life taken for nothing. I was pissed that he put another human being through so much pain. And I was pissed that my own shoulder was fucking killing me because of this guy. I took off my body cam. Now I know it's against protocol, but I'd been shot. And I was going to go over there and give him some street justice. But I went back around the car. He wasn't there.
What?
And the guy disappeared. I felt helpless. And for a split second, that turned to anger. I was gonna find him, and I was gonna him up. The handcuffs lay open on the ground. Now I know he couldn't have gone far. So I searched around the car, but I couldn't find him. I looked, and I mean, I looked everywhere. But this guy somehow walked off. No, I don't know how he got away. That's when backup came. The whole area was covered. I mean, we had it locked down. But we never found him. Yeah. That means he's still out there. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you. It's just reality. Now, he's just one of many who every day can get in a car and drive anywhere. Because a car can take a psycho to all sorts of places, even to right outside where you are.
Security?
I got a job at Chern's on 4th Avenue. It's a department store. The type of place that hookers and she-males shop at mostly, as it's in a real shit part of town. I gotta admit, sometimes I get confused at some of them when they come in, as they look so damn hot. But then I realize they're men. It's a minimum wage, but whatever. As long as I have money for partying tonight, I'm doing all right. So I sit in this shithole in the back and watch the monitors that mostly they haven't updated. The creepiest thing that I ever saw was on my first night. There's these 5 mannequins in the women's department. 4 of them were kind of hot. They had swimsuits on. Then there's this ugly one that was dressed in some kind of cam gear with a weird wig. I don't know who did the design, but I wouldn't go buying anything like that here anyway, but now that's none of my business, really. The first shift goes good. I've been walking around a lot, so I sit on a sofa, and I'm staring at the curves on the hot mannequins. I see the cam mannequin move. I am shitting you not. It moves an arm to adjust its position, like it was tired of standing there for so long. I thought I was wigging out at first and just tripping balls, but I don't do that shit. So I got up closer, thinking, I'm just crazy tired, and I'm walking away when I look in the mirror, and I see its head turn and follow me.
See.
I look back, and it freezes. I think first I'm on scare tactics or impractical jokers, and I wasn't on a TV show. I walked towards it a little, then it turned and stared at me. I backed off and left the store. Went outside for some air, and I stayed there the rest of my shift, out there by that front door. We locked up, and I watched the lights go off. When I got home, I told my girl, and she was like, how could you be such a chicken shit? There's someone in a costume, idiot.
No.
Now, I thought I was being played too, but the next day when I went in, the mannequin was still there. I went up to it to make sure it was real. It's real. It's made of plastic. I don't like this store, especially when it gets dark outside. The lights in here flicker now and again. I'm not sure how long I'm going to continue working here. The only good thing is, I haven't seen it move again.
Which one was the scariest?
The first one.
Just remember, don't turn around.
That transition almost got me. I'd say the first one because I don't know. It's weird Now the second one wasn't scary. It was crazy as fuck, but it wasn't scary. I definitely say the first one, because how does that work? How do you live in a house and you wake up? I guess you wake up in the morning, or you wake up, even worse, you wake up in the middle of the night. You wake up, let's say around the witching hour at 3 a.m. Or let's say you wake up around 4 a.m. It's still dark. And you get up for a drink, Kool-Aid, water, milk, something. And you just so happen, you get your cup, you're drinking it, you just so happen to peep outside. Because that's what I do. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I go to the kitchen, I go to the bathroom, I'm going to look out either my living room window, or I'm going to look out my bedroom window, which is right behind where, you know, my setup is here for recording my videos, my reaction videos. And I look outside, just out of habit. It's just you just do it like naturally. And you live in a house and you do that 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you just see an array, like a whole line of pale white faces, mannequins, just staring up at you. If your window is a little bit higher off the ground, or if you're on the ground level, if your kitchen's on the ground level, which most kitchens, if not all, are, but there might be some differences. You just see, or it's looking like right at you. Like you look out the window and there's just pale white faces, like a shit ton of them, just lined up, just looking directly at you, looking at your house. But the ones like right there in front are looking directly at you. Like, dude, that, I couldn't do it. I'd have to move. I ain't gonna hold you up. I couldn't do that shit. What would y'all do? You wake up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, get some water or some type of beverage from the kitchen. You use the bathroom, or you just get the beverage, and you just look out the window out of habit, and you see a whole line of mannequins, pale white faces, just staring at you. Like, what do you do? Like, do you go out there? I'm assuming you don't go out there, even though they're just mannequins, so they can't really fight back, that I know of, if they're just mannequins. Or do you, like, call the police? Or what do you do? What would y'all do in that situation? I'm very interested to know that. So let me know down in the comment section how y'all would respond to a situation like that. Because I'm really interested to know what y'all got to say about it. Deadass. Like I said, there wasn't many, if any, like random mannequin faces thrown up on the screen like Lazy Masquerade's video was. So that video definitely scared me a lot more than this one. This one just unnerved me with like the scenarios that these people were in. But nah, that cop in the second story, yeah, I'm glad he held back, even though he took off his body camera. He was finna clap his ass. But yeah, number one is definitely the scariest, the most unnerving one for me. What about y'all? What did y'all think of the video, and which one was the scariest to y'all? Let me know all of that in the comment section below. Thank you so much, guys, for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed the video. That is all I got for y'all this time around. Your boy Steph is out.